faster, even though I do a lot of like honestly manual editing, like inserting the links, finding the right words to hopefully have people read. And I was just told the other week I was on the Coinbase Twitter Spaces, the base builders one. I don't know if you've seen this one around. It's been growing pretty huge. And our favorite friend Rachel on Chain is actually one of the people who curate that feed among the creators. So yeah, I was on there and she spontaneously called me up. It's like a little bit caught off guard, but anyway, so she actually had someone there who said then, literally, she asked to have a word, Valerie, and she said, Stella, just so you're seen, so you know that you're seen. These newsletters that you write, they are not unseen. They reach me. I read every one you send, and I'm like, it's to hear because. I mean, I see the opening rates, right? That doesn't go beyond me, but it's really nice to hear people say it and be like, "Hey, actually, I try to keep up to date with what you guys are, cooking up here at Analog Protocol DAO." That was a nice thing to hear. So, yeah, Base Builders Africa. Yeah, I mean, this is a huge community, and actually, I have also an update on that one for you guys on the agenda today, because. Rachel on Chain and we caught up after that and came to the conclusion we should do a live stream together. So this is happening with the base builders because she went away from, she essentially went separate ways with Decent DAO. So focusing entirely on her own business, which is on-chain media, in case you guys didn't know that. And Coinbase is one of her, supporters in all of this. So yeah, pretty good. Pretty cool. I'm excited. Anyways, let's go into the schedule. And in case you guys don't know where to find this, it's always posted on the Discord. We have now, thanks to Julia and myself, we have our own little weekly calls channel now. So technically, you only need to keep an eye on this one to keep up to date if you're tight on time. Right? So don't overwhelm yourself unnecessarily. Use that as your guide and then jump into topics that actually interest you and like you feel related to. Don't make the same mistake that many DAO members I feel make in being part of different DAOs trying to stay on top of everything. That can be quite a lot. So just use this one channel and then you jump from there when you have time and availability and you feel like you can actually contribute. That's totally fine to do, okay? So, Julian, you want to tell us a little bit about what the core team has been up to?
Yes, ma'am. First thing, I shipped the thing that you and Ceci, I was hoping to see Ceci here, but events are now sorted in a reverse chronological order as an organizer. So if you go to the events page, the top one is the most recent or the most future one, I guess. So I was just thinking, like, for future stuff, should I do kind of reverse? But I was like, no. Basically, at the top, the further in the future, at the bottom, the further in the past. And so if you only have past events, you're going to see the most recent first. If you only have future events in the future, you get it. So that's there. Added an API because we need to do this to allow listing even collection pages. And that's probably going to be live in the next batch of deployment. Another thing that we've done, which is important, is we finally submitted on the legacy DAO, I should say, the proposal to move the UDT and ETH to Base, because as you know, we had the Arbitrum grant. First part of the Arbitrum grant. We should talk about the second part, but the first part of the Arbitrum grant. Which we are bringing back to mainnet. And so I think Danny, Stella, Lana, you guys should be able to vote Thursday, May 29. So because it was published on Friday, so there's a week, blah, blah, blah. So soon be able to vote on that. And then once this is done, we will have all of the funds arrive to Base. And I say all of the funds, but ETH plus the UDT, which is the legacy token, as you know. And so I think we should submit a proposal to just turn that into UP. That should be pretty trivial to do on there. Some of the other stuff that we've done, merge a ton of pull requests from, our Renovate bot, so the bot that actually monitors the update in a bunch of different things. And I'm finally closing the loop on some of the migration stuff that we were working on around the email service. And nobody's going to be affected. Nobody's going to see that, but that's actually a good one. As well as migrating away from Heroku, which is, probably about 10 times more expensive than Railway, which we're moving to. So moving to the cheaper thing, always nice. And after this, we'll work on a couple more features that have been asked for a while. So that's all I've worked on over the last week or so, basically.
Awesome. That's a lot. And also thank you for the new sorting thing. I know Stacey's going to be probably super excited about it. I think she actually has another event today. There's a lot going on, I think last week, this week in Bolivia. So I think this is why she isn't here yet. But yeah, anyways, I can also update on the marketing stuff if necessary, if she can make it towards the end. I quickly wanted to finalize discussions on the GMR. Oh, did Julian just drop by accident? Oh, he's back. You're back. Come back up here. Okay. What happened to you? Were you just kicked? Were you rugged?
It's like everything froze, and then you said, "You're back." It's like, "Yes, I'm back." But yeah, no, I wasn't.
That happened. Yeah, you're all good. Okay. So anyway, I wanted to finalize discussions on the GMR APR and consulting proposal from Wonder Woman Code. As we discussed last week, she's not here right now, but I think we can refer to the chat because the chat has been was cooking last week. So I think the main tendency in this chat, and I'm posting it also here so you guys can have a look if you want to. But this proposal was essentially about getting listed on a centralized exchange in Korea. And I think a lot of things were stated in the proposal that were, I would say, misleading, maybe not purposefully, wrongly phrased, but they were definitely misleading. So I think there was no real clarity on who would actually be able to come up with the grants for doing this. Because it involved $212,000. Wonder Woman Code also attacked some of the main token holders on this, who then responded in return and also said that even if we were to pay in up tokens, that would still be a crazy amount of up tokens, and potentially they would only be locked for 6 months, which could definitely result in essentially our token not be worth anything anymore. I always tend to think it's better to have a token be at some value than at no value. So I think that's just too much of a risk. I do think though, and I've been trying to talk with her in DMs. She already invested some work, time, and sweat into this. So what I'm all for is going together with her after the grants that she's suggesting. And if we get those grants and can use them to get listed somewhere else, then why not? Right? I don't see a problem with that. But I don't think we should use existing resources because it would potentially really risk our entire token economy and also our essentially our operations. And I think rendering ourselves inoperable is never a good business strategy. So I don't think we should do that. But again, we're a DAO, so please go through the chat. Just wanted to say, maybe for now we pause this conversation because I don't think she wants to work on this unless there is a clear road to listing on that specific centralized exchange. And I cannot do this by myself because it would definitely bombard my scope as of right now, because it's already a lot of other things that I'm working on for Unlock Protocol DAO. So take a look at this. But for now, I would get this then off our agenda if no one opposes it. Weak ass nod from Julian. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's been a lot of miscommunication on this front, or interpreting things that were not real. I don't think the foundation, I know for a fact the foundation never agreed to cover any kind of expenses on that front, never formally agreed to this. We always said, hey, this is something that we want to work on, this is something we want to see happen, but we never actually agreed. to work on this. I was a bit pained by seeing some of the message that say, "Yep, no, you guys definitely agree to these." It's like, no, we were not. It's sad that Angela is kind of moving on from here. I think Captain Sapa also had a bunch of question comments. I would love for them to kind of be on a future meeting so we can discuss this further. But really, no, there was no plan from the foundation to do any of that. I was actually really happy to see the DAO step up, and some of the DAO members do this. And it's a bummer that this is not going to happen this time, but hopefully that's going to happen at another time. And again, the foundation will eventually work on this. It's not the highest priority right now. There was also some question around how much tokens do we have? And I think Angela was asking like, okay, what are you guys going to do with the token that we have? And we always said that the Unlock Labs team will distribute these tokens, and that's about 35% of supply right now. I don't actually have the exact number, but that's between 30 and 40%. That's pretty 35. We'll distribute these tokens to our investors who invested in the Unlock Inc., the lab companies, and we'll distribute these with vesting and all of the measures in place so that nobody actually dumps these tokens. We're making a lot of good progress on this. I didn't mention this because this is not engineering work, but that's legal work that's happening, and got a final legal draft of this from the lawyers last week. So hoping to kind of make progress on this. In any case, again, lockups. Some of the investors already told me like they don't want to actually get the tokens, so we'll probably get these tokens either to the DAO or to the foundation. It's not clear what's the best way to do this. It might be to the foundation for a bunch of legal reasons as well. We'll get into details of that if you guys want to know. But the foundation can then allocate grants. So there's that. And then there was even a question about how many tokens I have. And I want to reinstate this. At this point, I have very, very little token. Like I don't even know. I would have to check, but like probably less than 10,000 on my name, I should say. Unlock Labs has a bunch, but me, Julian, I don't have a lot. If there's this token distribution to investors that we talked about, yes, I would get some, but same, I would get them, on a vesting schedule with, a cliff, which means that I wouldn't get anything for at least a year, and then it would be vesting over time for over 4 years, which is the current plan. Again, this is to be negotiated with our investors, so that's definitely a challenge. And yeah, I mean, Captain Southpaw said, "Hey, you would retain more than 2. No, I would likely not get more than 2.25% of the whole up supply, because at this point, as I said, the Inc. itself only has about 35%, and the labs team. So the 35% that we have would be split between our investor and the labs team. The labs team would get at most 10% of the 35, so 3.5%. And that would then be split between me, between Chris, Clément, and Joseph at this point. So I would get the biggest part of these 4, but I'll only get a part of the 4. So even if labs got 10% of 35, that would be 3.5%. I would likely not get more than half of that. So I will very likely get less than 2.25% of the tokens. Once this is decided, we'll obviously, in the interest of transparency, we'll tell everybody. But yeah, I'm not going to get millions of tokens, or actually maybe because it's big units. I'm not going to get big percentage of tokens.
Okay.
Yeah,
I got you. Thank you. Okay, so just so FYI for those who don't know, when I studied with the Token Engineering Academy, the standard rate for core teams was around 10 to 20%, and sometimes even much more, especially for founders. So I think this is actually a very humble amount that you're splitting there. That said, I know from all the people that have worked on this project so far from the core team, including Toby, you guys are not in it for the money nor for the token value. You're definitely in it for the tech and for the community. So I would not even feel bad if you guys would have more. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Which brings me actually
maybe one point on this, like we wish we could have more as well, but in the end, we did something where we raised money before any of these things were. I mean, we have to remember, Unlock is a 6 years old company at this point, right? So it's almost 7 actually years old company at this point. So we've done a lot of this work a long time ago. the agreement with our investors was that the labs team would retain at the time about 30% of the tokens. We have 35%, so a bit more than what we set as the minimum goal for them. And then the distribution of these tokens between us and them was obviously going to be, based on how much leverage the core team has. And the fact is, as we all know, we're not a very profitable, company, and so that means that we have very little leverage here to get more tokens. And so that's kind of the challenge that we're facing. Is like, well, the investors want to have as much of the value that they can. And so that means that the core team has little. The little leverage that I have is like, I say, fine, I'm throwing the towel. You guys are on your own. That's the whole point. You get tokens, part of the DAO. If I'm moving on, what's the value that is left? And so really, it's not about, they would get no value out of this. So basically, the negotiation is between us getting a little bit enough to kind of remain motivated and part of the ecosystem, and then them getting as much. Otherwise, they would literally sue us to say, "Hey, you owe us more of the value that you've created because you've created so little value." And to be clear, our investors at this point, given the token valuation, it's easy to do the math, but there's a 7.5 million value for the whole token supply. 3.5, 35% of this is about, let's say, less than 3 million. We raised a total of 6.5. So basically, all of our investors at this point have lost half of their money on this, which is not what they were aiming, obviously, and so that's why they have a little bit of leverage. Say, hey, you owe us. I don't owe from a legal perspective, but they can claim rather as much of the value that is left inside of the labs. And so I'm trying to get them to agree to give us 10%. Because it's, I think, only fair and a good way for us to, stick around. I would stick around anyway, but don't tell them that. And our goal is to, retain some of the value for us so that we can keep growing the ecosystem. Once we've distributed token, I think the foundation will have a much greater role. And to me, that's kind of the goal: is the foundation can issue grants and do a bunch of things. All of the money that Unlock Labs is giving to it's not that much, but a little bit of that, as you know, Stella, goes to the DAO, and the goal is for the foundation to kind of take the lead on that and do a bunch more. So all in all, obviously, this is not the outcome that we all wished for at this stage, but I think we get to keep playing, which is to me fantastic. And over the last few weeks, we've done a lot of really amazing things. Like we're going to talk briefly about Pizza DAO, but the number of people that told me, like, Unlock's so cool. I was like, yes, of course, Unlock's so cool. And then starting to see some devs willing to build some interesting stuff is definitely exciting. I know, Danny, you've been a long-term contributor. I've been pushing you to kind of build your own apps on top of Unlock for now, a long, long time. I wish you do that. And so I know Stella is doing some of that herself. And so getting more on that is definitely the way, we actually create more value for the ecosystem. And with that, I'm sticking around, but yeah, go ahead, Stella.
With that, you're done. Okay, good. Because there's some more stuff we have to work our way through. So first of all, thank you, Julian, for helping me get all the information together to hand in for the second milestone application with Arbitrum DAO, because thanks to the Hubble questing and some other hardcore Arbitrum users, we actually reached that goal. Actually, we went way beyond that goal, just so you know. So on their milestone agenda for the second milestone was reach essentially 20,000 keys minted. I thought it was always locks, but it said keys, and we're at 35,000 freaking keys on Arbitrum. So we're okay. We're so okay on this. I also added the lock amount, so they know that's also 14,000 locks, which is, it's still a really good value, right? So they know all of this now. They have all of that with them, but also their return or receipt confirmation essentially says okay, this is now going to take 2 to 3 weeks before we can get back to you. So it's going to take a bit. But I'm also on a Telegram chat. I told the guy that I handed this in, so they are very aware that I handed this in. I hope we hear back from them soon. Also, Gitcoin grants are going to be paid out or have already been paid out. Honestly, I've got to keep track of it. So in the next week, I think we need to get a date selected to get the multi-sig signers together so we can push this over through I think it's a D-Bridge integration in Safe that we used last time with Lana. So yeah, essentially pushing this over from Arbitrum to Base. Will, what's up?
Payouts have already been completed, including matching funds.
You're amazing. Thank you for keeping track.
I'm not looking at the wallet, I'm just looking at the communications from Gitcoin, so yeah.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Okay. So anyways, I saw an email, but I haven't opened it yet, to be very, very frankly honest with you guys. All right. Then I wanted to get a quick temp check. I know we're not a sweeping lot today, but I think 6 people is still enough. You remember this proposal from Luisa from Community One for the Discord bot that helps with moderation and other things. So, from the information that she supplied, I think we should do this. I think we're in pretty much good control. And it's a freemium model, so we don't need to pay for it, which is also great. And also here's your attendance badge. Sorry for posting this a little bit late. So unless someone in here says, no, I don't want that. I don't want that at all. I will not move forward. But otherwise, I would put this on tally and get this vote over with. So any direct opposition to adding this specific Discord bot for community moderation? I think Julia is saying no, no, no. No, nothing. You guys are all good? Okay, silence is agreement. I learned this from Lana very early on. Great. Good. Then that's it. Then we had with us actually proof of personhood, Kaz. So just wanted to make a quick teaser, and I think Julian already had a look at the proposal and said, yeah, it could be something like the Gitcoin passport hook, right? And I think that would be great to have. So he has a much, I wouldn't say bigger aggregator. And also technically it works a little bit different. I did not understand all the technical details. I'm sorry, but it looked like a good integration to have because it doesn't really require you to do KYC, right? But if you it still confirms that you're a real person and not a bot, right? So he has a bunch of options in this little aggregator that I think could be useful and more people might want to use that, which then brought up a new idea from Triggs, which he's going to talk about a little bit later, hopefully in the call if he can join. Otherwise, we're going to talk about this next week. Okay, so then I have a suggestion and I want to hear what you guys think about this. So Ramit and Snacks have added tremendous value in the last few weeks, months to the protocol. And I would be in favor to suggest a token drop to them and their team, not as in here is the token, but streaming it through Sailor or something else in the next 6 months. If this is something you guys, Drew is already nodding. Okay, that's good. So unless, again, anyone is horribly against it, I guess I would spin up that conversation thread so we can unite on a good amount that we think is reasonable to stream to them and their team. But I think people like them should have a bigger say in the protocol. But they are literally too busy to maybe do other things. And we will also want to keep working with them. Will, what is your thought?
So a quick question, do we know if either or both of them have a project listing on Giveth? Because when you set up recurring on Giveth through Superfluid, it's actually a bigger benefit if they do have a project listed on Giveth to them and also to us, because then we could also add SUP tokens, which are the Superfluid tokens, into our DAO treasury as well. Just throwing that thought out there.
That thought is a very sexy thought. I like that thought. Okay, because we would make a gain upon giving up tokens. Great, never bad. Okay, I spin up that conversation thread, and then can you add that thought again, Will, when I tag you? Is that okay?
100%.
Awesome. Okay, because that would be super, super cool to have and do. All right. So no direct opposition. That's great. Thank you, guys. Again, we have that opportunity to have this like live stream with Rachel on Chain for base builders. Probably not this week because it's her big birthday party this week. Has anyone published a doc to show how to use Huddle X Unlock?
Yeah, so basically the core idea is like, you have a huddle meeting, but you lock it and, you're the host of that one. Imagine you press a button saying at this point, boop, this gets blurred for everyone unless they have, a membership NFT in their wallet of a special kind. And so to me, it's the obvious use case that, I think Ceci was talking about with some adult creators. You lock down some of the stream and you say, fine, you want to see what's going on behind the scenes right now. You have to have a valid token membership. And I think for me, that's kind of an obvious use case of both Huddle and Unlock, which I think could go a really, really long way.
So, okay, so it's really good you're saying that because I told you will see me a lot offline this week. Okay, pre-warning. The reason for that is I'm going to try and push out a ton of tutorials and videos for Unlock, and I cannot deal with a bunch of distraction while I'm trying to do that, right? Like ping, 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 and all different messaging channels not going to work. So I asked Will and Stacey during our marketing call this morning, which are topics that they find are super necessary to address. So I will add that to the list, already added in fact, and make a video on this as well, because you're right. Because we are also soon starting the promotion stuff with Ninja Promo. So the more like content that we can redistribute through all channels we have, the better this is actually going to work, right? Everyone thinks that hiring a marketing agency means they do all the work. This is just not how it works. Sadly, I wish it would be. That would be easy, but that would mean just investing a ton more money because this kind of work is usually very expensive. But yeah, agreed. Good idea. Add it to the list. Okay, so we will have this base builders thing with Rachel, which is great. So I'm trying to get to listen to everyone how cool Unlock is. Further collab and recap call with Snacks from Pizza DAO. So we have already plans to do more with them and to write an article on their success story with a little interview with Snacks and some other team members. We want to do a live stream, talking about what's coming next, right? Because they're doing this because they eventually want to token drop. So this is why they wanted to do definitely on-chain ticketing. And GitHub, when creating an event, it would be useful for users who want to create video calls to be able to select Huddle and have the config be done from there automatically. Here are the Huddle docs. Say around G. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, got you. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, because they have this now and it's part of their quest. So doing that video is actually not a big deal. I totally can do that. All right. Trix is not here yet. So we cannot talk about the marketplace for third party plugin creators, I think was the idea, which I thought was really cool. So we would use Unlock to actually give people access to like products that they can use modularly together with Unlock or other things, other technology solutions to build their own systems. We really like that idea. A quick latest updates on role design with Leah Sam. So Leah put in her last drafts into the chat. So if you want, take a look at those. But I think at this point, it's just refinement. So I will respond after our call and get these refinements in place. But I think they look really, really pretty, which is probably going to look really, really good on socials. So I'm really happy about how our work came together. Also had a really exciting call last week with Mono from Nouns Amigos, which is essentially the biggest Nouns group in Latin and South America. And we're looking at how we can maybe spin up an event together, like maybe a week-long event together with creators, rewarding creators with app tokens, doing content creation on Unlock Protocol. So kind of like in-house marketing, but doing it with like really creative people together because Nouns Amigos consists mostly of creators. So I think this is a really great idea and really like the chat that I have with Mono. Also, I don't know if you guys remember, but we granted Carrot Castle 2 ETH and 1 ETH still has been sitting on their account. So we finally found a good way on how to use this 1 ETH. And it's going to be also a grant, essentially distributed through the incentive platform, which is very much connected to Carrot Castle, of 2 ETH or UP tokens. So I told them to buy the UP tokens to the 8 bond link because they will get more UP tokens to distribute. So essentially, I think Sven already did that, to be honest. He already pushed us over. And the idea is, to distribute those grants to individual creators who create content on Unlock Protocol. That's it. Like, tutorials, funny stuff, whatever they can come up with. That's like essentially withstands quality checks. We have to define those guidelines, of course, but this is essentially the idea. They're now working with the creators team on getting something pushed for NFT NYC. So I think ours would come after that. Fits the timeline also better. But nonetheless, we have that in place and we finally found good use for this 1 ETH that's happening. All right. I had a call today with Cool Horse Girl from Tally. It's actually a very important topic to bring up when Julian is still here. So yay. This is because I need technical insights. But essentially, so I asked her a few things about the staking mechanism because I wasn't clear on that. One was the rewards from staking the token. Would that be an app or would that be in like any form of wrapped app token, right? And could people do restaking or could they do liquid restaking? How would that work? So apparently they have 2 types of contracts that can be used. She also told me that for the next 6 months, they will not really have a factory. So yes, you can self-deploy those contracts, but it's not as straightforward or easy. Okay. But I think it would be really worth looking into. So if Julian Clement, because I think this is a new topic, sorry. If you don't mind, I would create an issue on GitHub because I have a whole list of shit that I need to put up there that we agreed on before. So if you don't mind, I would put all the info that I have on this up there to have at least Clement, I know nothing, but please, yes, do create. Okay, I will create that there so that Clement, when he has some time, he can look into it and see for himself how difficult, how labor intensive this really is, because I understand absolutely nothing of that. I just know this is very sensitive because it's a staking mechanism directly integrated in our governance platform. So this is not a 0815 shit, right? This is different. Yes. So, but on the pro side, it directly enables us to combine DeFi and governance on the same platform. And I think that might really matter because especially if people start staking early, they get a really good APY, right? So that will always look sexy. And Cool Horse Girl told me today when she showed me the demo that they will integrate a little buy button as well, which means like directly from seeing that APY, which right now for some tokens is at like 60 something %. It's crazy, right? Because no one is like really actively using the feature yet. That's really fun for like token holders, especially bigger token holders, to get into this early. I just think it's another option we should explore. And if we can self-deploy this, then it's at no cost. The Tally team will advise and consult and help still on the side in the Telegram channel. So they won't just say like, okay, you're not paying us, goodbye, right? She said, no, of course there will support and help. So yeah, I just think this is an additional feature that would probably also look more rounded. So I don't think it's a bad idea to look into it. Is that okay that I put it up on GitHub? Yeah? Okay, GitHub. Ooh, have a whole list on there. Okay, cool. That's it, I think. The Uniswap stuff. Oh, also, Will.
Before you move on from member relations and governments, I take full responsibility. I didn't get you this update added to the agenda today, so I apologize for that. I've been a little busy, but update on the DAO-based incentive program that we're building out in Schaumburg, and I've done this through my own discovery with the way that KF Media leverages the same process. So, and Angela and I do have a call on Thursday to kind of go through the testing phase of this. But an update is the issuing wallets on Arbitrum, which would deploy the EAS, needs to have not only a Charmverse account, but also needs to be an admin in Charmverse as well. And then the wallet that will deploy on base, same thing, right? They'll need a Charmverse account and be made an admin of Charmverse.
Okay, so do you want me to, like, for testing purposes, which would be the wallets that I need to make admins, I guess?
Yeah, I think we need to kind of discover that through this call on Thursday.
Okay.
And then we can work back with you and let you know which wallets need to have that particular profile and influence in Charmverse.
Okay.
But I just want to
makes
give
sense.
everybody an update. It is actively working. It hasn't been shifted to the back burner or anything like that. We just had to find a time on both our schedules where it lines correctly. So yeah, stay tuned.
No, okay, staying tuned because this is awesome. If you guys get this to work, it's definitely going to make stuff more efficient for us, to reward people for doing actual work. So thank you for, moving this along the queue of other things.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's really good.
And all this came through just testing what we're doing at KF Media because I feel that in the Charmverse world, we may be the first instance out of all the Charmverse instances that are out there that are actually deploying EAS certificates through Charmverse or have had issues deploying EAS certificates through Charmverse. So it feels like it's very new information to the Charmverse team. So.
Got you. Actually, a quick question, as I already have some of you here. You guys know about the pricing models that Chandler's will soon activate. So I got some dev tokens because why the hell not? I love that protocol anyways, right? So I'm happy to sponsor a few months until we have a way of the DAO to start taking care of this. But you guys, I think we're all okay with the silver tier, right? No one was like, yeah, that's a bummer, right? Because silver tier is still 2,500, something like this. So yeah, okay, good. Then let's do that because I think it's absolutely worth it. I think we should support stuff like this.
The dev tokens? Did you just do it through a DEX or? And on what chain?
Yeah, it's a token on base actually. This is why I asked Julian if he happens to have some, because I feel like you must have gotten rewarded with dev tokens. Come on, like if no one gifted you dev tokens, that would be so mean.
I don't know.
Speak to Cosarella.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna ping Chris Carla and then Alex Poon because I think I might have some, but I have no idea where or how to claim.
You should definitely talk to them.
I would say if you're a part of Scout Games Season 1, you definitely have dev tokens.
I did play with Scout Games, so I'll and then I helped them a little bit on some of the token stuff. So maybe we can get a grant. I'll ping them and check.
Yes, please check. Yes. Thank you.
Cool.
Not abusing any direct connections, high level connections here, but for what it's Julian, I've been working on several apps built on top of Unlock. When it's ready to be showcased, I let the community know. That is promising. This is one of them in closed testing. DG token vendor .verso.app. Look at that. Julian, you missed out on information. Danny, you have to be more vocal about shit like this. Come on. We need to know what you're up to all the time. You devs, you're always so mysterious, Not good. Okay. Yeah, I think honestly, this is all from my end. I really want to try and again push out video material this week. So trying to get everything recorded until tomorrow evening, and then try and get everything edited until Saturday evening, probably realistically, and push this up on YouTube, and then also on starting to push it out on the short video edits on TikTok and stuff. If you guys have any more ideas for short videos that we can then also redistribute, please let me know. Oh, nice. Where can I see unlog in there? Of course, you'd immediately look. Okay. Will, yes, you have more ideas on the whole video
Well,
stuff?
not well, kind of. This is kind of a tie back into a collab. Okay, so let me set the framework for this, and it's just something to kind of keep on your radars, right? So, one, you all know I'm not a dev, but I view myself as a solutions architect. So what I do is I take solutions that devs create and I stitch them together. Is someone else talking?
No, sorry, that was my dog in the background. I'm
Oh,
gonna
geez.
mute.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
He's half husky. He just keeps
Okay.
talking. I'm sorry.
Okay. So anyway, but I take solutions and tools that other people built and I stitch them together in such a fashion to where it creates this whole new solution. So I want to keep this on your guys' radar because what we're doing at KF Media, I think is pretty cool. So we have a new program that we're launching on June 1st, specific to content creators, specifically to those who identify as educators. You guys have all heard of TED Talks probably by now, right? So it's going to be a TED Talk format of this special type of content. We're calling it KFM Talks. It is a new brand for us. We'll have a specific logo. We are looking at ways where we can fundraise against this so that we can compensate the content creators that buy into this program, right? But initially, just with the understanding, hey, it's a way to create some beautiful content, but educate people at the same time. So what we're doing with this program, it will 100% the entire program run on Unlock protocol through the event ticketing side of it and Huddle 01 for the meeting and the recording and the streaming side of the program. So just want to kind of put that on your guys' radar. You're getting a little bit of the pre-alpha before it actually is announced to the world. I will, in the events thing, of course, I'll share all the links and all that too when we've formally announced the program. But I just wanted to keep it on everyone's radar.
So that's awesome. Thank you, Will. Which brings it one more to my attention to say, please tag if you're using Unlock Protocol because Stacey will make sure it gets reposted on Twitter and we will help you amplify it. I make sure it gets posted on or reposted on LinkedIn. Jonathan will definitely make sure. So please really think about tagging us on the different platforms that you're using. This is not an exclusive thing I'm saying to Will, but to everyone who uses Unlock Protocol, right? If we can help you spread the word that you're actually using Unlock Protocol, then we're so happy to do it. Okay. So we'll make sure to tag and congratulations for getting very close to the launch. Danny, open a thread on Discord. I will share feedback. Okay. Julia's on fire. Danny, you did it.
I regularly do provide proper attribution when we're using other people's tools. So don't worry about that.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. Because, if we cannot spread the word, definitely want to do that. Tricks, Bebe, so good to see you. Sorry you get double booked. You still want to say a few words about this idea you had with the framework marketplace for third parties? Yes,
Sure.
and also don't forget to mint your tickets. Okay, putting this in chat for the last time for today. So make sure you get a little ticket before the call closes. Trix now knows perfectly how this works because he has now started to set up weekly event badges for the Let's Talk DAOs guide space. Sorry. Okay, please do your thing.
Cool. Yeah. So the post that I put up on the forum started out just from an idea with a partner or a project that I'm working with, Harmonica. And they wanted to use their tool for like a feedback process for events to be integrated into the ticketing process. And I thought that would be a great integration for Unlock. But then I started thinking about like, how do you do these kind of integrations with an open decentralized protocol when, Harmonica is, it's not a Web3 decentralized, tool. So that gets into all these gray areas. And that's what led me down this path of thinking like there needs to be some sort of like open framework for plugins to be able to register that can be used with Unlock. And then any front end, anybody who's building on Unlock can tap into this resource and integrate it on their site. So the official Unlock Labs event planning site could kick off demonstrating how this works by integrating it and showing all the plugins that are available. But then other projects that are building on top of Unlock would be able to just have this one simple integration that they build to access this framework. And now all of a sudden they have access to all of these plugins. I'm not a dev. I'm not a technical person. I'm probably just like hurt Julian's brain in so many different ways trying to explain this, but maybe there's a better way to put it together that actually, makes sense from a technical perspective.
Sorry, I just love this just now. So good. I hurt his brain in so many ways. Yeah, I mean, Trix comes from the business end of all of this. So it's good we have someone with your type of thinking now with us. Also, bless you. But yeah, Julian, if you have an immediate opinion, please go and comment. Otherwise, the chat is obviously there and open to comment on us.
Yeah, ping me on the chat, please. That's the proof of personhood, right? Like, I think this makes a ton of sense. I don't see any obvious. Is that the proof of personhood thing, or is it a different thing?
No, it's a different thing. Actually, Trix commented on the proof of personal thing because it played into this idea of having maybe different plugins available.
Okay, so
but
I missed that thread. Damn it. Okay, let me read that and then get back to you on this one.
Oh, good. But also, I was having a similar thought a while ago because I was thinking like, okay, so I asked Toby to help us do the unlockable content stuff for the next edition of Alana magazine because we don't have Dark Block anymore, right?
Yep.
So he's looking into that, and I have to send him some more documentation about the stuff that I researched. But I think it's like Will said also today on the marketing call, if this unlockable content, if it's like a very straightforward solution, and we can offer that as like a little plugin or anything, right, that people can easily integrate and have this obviously, done in a similar way than you described in your chat. I think that would be super helpful. The same thing that Felix is working currently on for me for my personal website, which is essentially unlocking, pages of your website almost like a Patreon, right? And have like full control over your Patreon with using Unlock Protocol entities. I think if we have more things, now you guys know where I spend my money on. That's just like where Unlock earnings are going into. But yeah, I think if we have more plugins and if we would motivate more developers to do that, that would probably be a really good idea to also spread in a more domino-like effect. So yeah. Also, Julian, please go ahead.
Sorry, I wanted to piggyback on that real quick because you reminded me the most important part of, I think, this suggestion is that it has a monetizable path for the DAO. A lot of these plugins could be free plugins, right? You want to have free plugins, but paid services can also create plugins that generate revenue. And so Unlock starts to become a distribution mechanism. That's why I called it a framework / marketplace, right? If Unlock can start distributing plugins, now it's going to attract builders who want to sell monetizable plugins, and that can be a revenue stream for the DAO.
Yeah, and also for creators. So I think that would be really great because then, eventually it would not just be me, asking a developer to build something for me, right, and then distribute. But rather, like, developers could come in on their own account and be like, oh yeah, I built a plugin for this, and then every time someone uses the plugin, I get a share of whatever is being distributed through it, right? So I think that aligns very well also with the mini app suggestion that Julian and I have been co-promoting at this point to just everyone who wants to hear it or doesn't want to hear it. Julian, I also forwarded you an email from the cast guy who was on this call earlier about fee structures because I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but I was
I think there's a confusion because he said there's just a developer can charge 20%, 30%. There's no like you say, oh, it's just one person. I mean, maybe I misunderstood the email, but I think there's a lot of confusion.
Yeah, how I think there is a confusion. So he's essentially saying if people can use Unlock autonomously, right, and just like live with a 1% fee, why would they use a mini app to potentially then pay 2%, right?
They wouldn't pay.
So that's
no. It's no matter what the user pays the same price. It's not. It's just a referral fee that's different. So basically, it's nobody's going to pay less if they use Unlock directly. They're going to pay the same amount. It's just like in that case, all of the money would go to the creator rather than to the app. But in most contexts, right, the user will actually never switch app. Like if if I'm using Danny's app right now and I make purchase, I'm purchasing from that app. I'm not going to go try it somewhere else to kind of and not even pay less, right? It's like think of an affiliate program on Amazon, right? Like when you use an affiliate link to buy a book and the partner is going to get a percentage, you wouldn't pay less if you bought the book straight from Amazon rather than from that affiliate link. So it's not like it would be it wouldn't be cheaper to use Unlock. It would just mean that the app doesn't get a cut. But again, why would anybody kind of go on the side way to kind of pay the same price and make things more complicated for them when in practice there's actually no benefit to that? Does that make sense?
I think so. So essentially, the DAO wouldn't get the 1% fee anymore. That would just go to the developer.
1% fee. So think there is like two fees always. There is the 1% fee, and then the idea of a referrer fee. And the referrer fee can be anything the creator said. It can be 99%, up to 99, I guess. But it can be 1, 2, 5. No matter what, the DAO would get 1%. And then if when you go to the Unlock dashboard, you can set a special referrer fee for a special referrer. And so that referrer would get whatever you set here, and it can be, again, 99%. It wouldn't be more than 99 because there's 1% going to the DAO in any case.
Okay. So I got that. This 1% never changes. This is always stable, right? And then whatever someone wants to charge on top of that, that would go through a referral fee,
and
essentially.
It's not on top of that, right? So think of it. I charge $10. 1% of it goes to the DAO. The rest goes to me by default. If I set a referral fee of 10%, then you thought I would get, just for you, you would get 10%, the DAO get 1%, and I get the rest, 89%. Does that make sense? So it's not like on top of, right? It's like Trix pay 10, 1% goes to the DAO, still I get 10%, I get 89% because I'm the creator. But I can also set, for Danny, a 20% referral fee. And so in that case, Trix pays 10, same amount, DAO gets 1, same amount, Danny gets 20%, I get $7.99.
Helpful. Thank you. Okay, I will send that part of the recording to Klaus so you can also learn.
Yes.
Because I think I added to his confusion, I'm pretty sure. I'm sorry for this. Okay, good. I think we went through everything. For those of you who missed the call, please review the call. I also will try and get the newsletter out as soon as possible. But again, I will do mostly offline. So I see each of you probably rather next week than this week. Although I see Trix tomorrow. That's different. Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.